It says here that we're live.
I know. Do you see how far over? Look. Look where you need to be.
I need to be in the middle.
I know. We'll move this over.
Well, okay.
We need your face. We need your face.
You're going to get it anyway.
It doesn't work if we don't have your face. Okay.
I need my foot.
You need your foot? How's that going?
I'm getting real tired.
I know.
I don't mean to kvetch being a perfect word for this kind of complaining. Yiddish is a wonderful language, which I never, my parents didn't speak it.
No.
But so many Yiddish words have made their way into the American vernacular.
Yeah.
Schlep.
I like that's the first one we go for. Schlep.
Well, I mean,
no, it's a perfect word.
They're very colorful words. Some of them are onomatopoetic.
Onomatopoetic?
They are.
And
I don't mean to kvetch, but I'm recovering from toe surgery.
Your whole foot.
Well, yeah.
I mean, really, the whole
all
foot
5
there.
of the toes.
All 5 toes.
But I still have these big nails in 2 of my toes. I'm not going to get graphic. Never mind. Come Wednesday.
Yeah.
I should be a free
He'll
man.
be free again, and we cannot wait for it. Ay. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Happy Sunday.
Hello.
Happy surviving till Sunday.
Yeah. It's a holiday weekend, I've been informed.
That's right. Yes. In our house, sometimes
we don't function.
Days of the calendar just.
Well, it's just that we don't function like some people function, which is to say that, weekdays don't really apply to us. Which I think can be true for some. If you don't have a 9 to 5, you sort of just exist and float.
And now my class is over for the semester.
Yeah, so that was
the one marker that I had.
Yes.
Unchangeable, irrefutable.
Yes.
Thursday night, I teach at USC
until the semester ends,
but
and we
not
all
for
go.
The summer.
Whoop. Hi from New Jersey. Hello, Rosalind Fortin, New Jersey. Where in New Jersey are you? I'm not going to say what exit.
Oh, well.
It's too easy.
I know.
You can't just go for the obvious ones all the time. Every now and then you got to go for something a little fancier than that. Hi, everybody. Hi. Larry says, happy Sunday, Maltins, and a sunny thank you to Leonard, a true mensch. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
another
indeed.
Great Yiddish word.
Hi. You guys always look so happy. It's refreshing. Thanks. We try. We try. Okay. So one of the running jokes, my mother, we'll call her Alice, when she sleeps, has what I can only really describe as guppy face.
Hi from Ireland.
Oh, where in Ireland are you? I love Ireland. And the way I can describe this best is it looks like this. And when she is really tired, I say full-blown guppy. And that's how my dad and I know we'll look over, because if she's just sleeping, it's fine. But then once guppy starts to form, it means don't wake that woman. She is out. She is down for the count. Let her be. But yeah, we're sort of smiley by nature.
Yeah.
It's just our way.
It's just our way.
It's just our way.
I was confronted about this once and only once.
Yeah.
I did a mini junket, which is to say a small scale promotional junket for James Cameron's documentary.
You're going to say this?
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. I just normally you're.
No. This is not revealing anything.
Go on.
And so he sits still with a backdrop that they've made to look telegenic, and the reporters are sort of ushered in and out,
doing what they do.
And when I was ushered in, he looked, and I'd met him several times before, done a number of interviews, and he said, "Oh, hi, how are you?" I said, "Fine." He said, "You're always cheerful. You're always smiling. How do you do that?" And I wanted to say, "Well, I don't work for you."
That's what I can't believe you said that. You're normally so reserved with these things.
James Cameron is 2 different people, apparently.
Yes. When working, not your favorite.
On a set,
yeah.
This is well documented.
Hi, Stephen.
On a set, he can be explosive.
Yeah.
Do
you remember
ferocious.
Noah's story about the glasses?
No.
One of my best friends was working on a documentary, and apparently both Leonardo DiCaprio and James Cameron are very, very serious about their sets being as low waste as possible.
Oh, right. Yes, yes, yes.
And so normally when you go on a set, everybody has got, little water bottles. They're all over the place. You try to mark your name on them, but they inevitably get lost. It just sort of is what it is. Well, when they're on set, no, you do not get to have plastic water bottles. So my friend and some of the other folks working had to run around getting rid of all of the plastic because they were going to be interviewing both of them that day for this documentary. And then they said, well, but how are we going to give them water? We have to give them water if they're going to sit here. So then he had to run down the street to like a Home Goods and buy some very plain looking glasses, run them back to set, fill them with water, with bottled water that they then hid. It's just one of those kind of ridiculous and funny. But yeah.
No, I mean no disrespect to James Cameron.
No. Look, I've gotten to meet him a handful of times. He's very nice to me. He likes you. But yeah, on set, apparently he is not necessarily the person you want to be with, which is okay.
So last night, your mother and I watched episode 2.
Yeah.
Of 100 Years of Warner Brothers.
Oh, yeah. So as you guys know, we spoke about it a bit last week, but this documentary series that my dad was a part of, not just on camera, but behind the scenes, is now available on Max, not HBO Max.
We had to
just Max.
First we had to acquire Max.
You had to download and do
I had to call the IT department sitting right here.
Hi, I'm IT. Yeah, to get it working. We did. So you watched the first and the second episode?
Yes. The first episode is dynamite.
Yeah.
It's just, it moves like a rocket and it covers so much ground.
Yeah.
It really covers a lot of ground. It's not skimpy. I mean, you might want to, in a better world, spend a little more time on certain actors or certain genres or films, but it covers everything. The second episode is about the transition when Jack Warner retired and then passed away, and the studio was sold more than once. And Leslie Iwerks produced and directed this show. She makes business history work. I haven't seen too many documentaries about the business of Hollywood. And episode 2 is largely about that, about when Stephen Ross came in from Kinney. It was called Warner Brothers 7 Arts. Then it was a Kinney job, a Kinney unit or eunuch, I don't know which. Anyway, I found it very absorbing, and I'm very proud to be in it.
Yeah. As I say, I mean, you guys did work really hard. You had a lot of meetings. You looked up a lot of information. You delved deep. So I'm glad that it's here.
Not just me. We had what Leslie called her brain trust.
Brain trust of people.
And there are 2 more episodes to come.
Yeah.
Which will be, I'm sure, almost all contemporary.
Yeah.
In nature.
And it premiered at Cannes.
Yes.
Which is really cool. So we've been staring at pictures of our friends there, and so did I send you the one of all of them on the carpet?
No.
I know I showed you the tower that they made,
right.
But yeah, it's been great, and I'm so excited for Leslie to continue to have this kind of success because she works really hard and she cares a lot.
Yep.
But yeah, was there a real point on why Warner's tried to partner with AOL? Man, I don't know.
Everyone agrees. I mean, there's no one
slightly high here.
There's no one who disagrees with the conclusion that was one of the worst mergers in American corporate history.
Yeah, not ideal.
You won't find a lot of naysayers on that score.
No.
Especially if you own Warner Brothers stock.
It's Can. It's not Con. It's Can. So not Cans, just Can. That's it.
Can.
Yeah. Can.
As Lita Lamont would say.
Yeah, and I can stand them. Can you help settle? It's not Con. I don't know why people started saying Con. The only reason really that we know is because it is a place. So it's not a made up name where someone can it's the name and the place is called Cannes. In France. Cannes in France. But yeah, it's always really fun to see our friends doing well, but also seeing them get sort of the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah. Exactly. And for Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is using this as a promotional tool,
Yeah, naturally.
and
Yeah.
they're entitled, and uh, they're spinning it in as many directions as they can think of,
Yeah.
merchandising,
Yeah. But that makes sense.
times and all that. But good for them.
Hi, Stephen. I'm so happy to see you. Stephen texted me, Stephen Pless, our friend Stephen Pless, texted me yesterday, said he was excited to watch the Warner Brothers doc and see you. So it's as I say, it's exciting. It's exciting to see it all come together.
Well lit.
You were well lit.
I was well lit and
You were well
photographed.
lit.
Very pleased with that.
Yeah, man. It is crazy. My dad gets interviewed all the time for different documentaries. Really all the time.
Yeah.
It slowed down slightly with COVID. But
it only took a worldwide pandemic.
It only took a
slow the process
But
down.
one of the funniest things that happens to me all the time is my friends will say, "Oh, I saw your dad on TV." And I'll say, "Cool, it was in a documentary." Okay. I can't remember the name. Do you know what it was? How long do you have? You are I would dare say a prolific talking head.
I'm a pretty prolific
You're
talking head.
You're a pretty prolific talking head.
That's not an opinion. That's just
many places.
Just the facts.
Josh is saying, did Alice ever forgive you for exposing her to reality TV insanity when WB docs exist? Look, she was very entertained watching that crap with me. Let me tell you, sometimes you just need easy television.
Yeah.
That requires absolutely nothing of you.
Right.
And that's where some of these reality shows can come in very handy. My parents are fans of HGTV and that kind of thing. That's what they put on. For me, I'll put on
stress-free television.
Yeah, I'll put on something on Bravo and just go, it's all fine. Everything's going to be okay. Where did the film Leonard's WB100 doc spot? That background was pretty impressive.
That was on a sound stage.
Where were you filming? Yeah, where did you shoot?
On a sound stage.
Yeah, you were at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Warner Brothers turf.
Yeah.
In Burbank.
Normally, it's in our office. It's in the office upstairs or in the room that we're in. That tends to be where you get interviewed.
Yeah.
And then at our old house, there were 3 rooms that got lots of use, and it's quite funny to see that stuff and go, oh, there's the old living room. There's the old family room. There's
one day we shot a documentary for what was then Republic Pictures Home Video about serials, cliffhangers. And we did 5 interviews that day in 5 different locations in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's a little time capsule.
Yeah, it is. Move your cane for Logan.
Oh, sure.
Trouble getting by. And now he's going back outside. There you go. Hey, Bear. We went to my husband and I took the dogs and Daisy to the dog park this morning, and Daisy got toppled 3 separate times by this puppy. And I have to say, she was a trooper about it. And the nice woman who had the puppy kept apologizing. It's like, no, we came to the dog park. She's got to get used to it. And she recovered each time. But man, watching this puppy just full-blown sprint at Daisy, and Daisy's like, dog? And he just, boom, and he knocks her over. Oh, she was very dirty and not thrilled. But it was, it's very funny. We always have interesting conversations with people at the dog park, as funny as it sounds. But everybody's kind of got their own little universe going. And I like to listen to what people are watching, which sounds only slightly creepy. But I'm always intrigued by what people who are not movie nerds are watching, because I want to know what the average bear finds entertaining.
Yeah.
I want to know, what is it that you're going, oh, I really want to watch this, or I'm really excited about this. And so I do sometimes my own personal polling. And I'll just walk around and sort of go, so what are you watching? What are you up to? And I'll just say, I enjoy it. I enjoy sort of hearing, as I say, what is interesting to somebody. Because they keep making Fast and Furiouses. So someone's watching them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Someone's watching all of them.
I did see one new movie since we last spoke, and that's Nicole Holofcener's new film, which is called You Hurt My Feelings.
You Hurt My Feelings, yeah.
Starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus. and a very strong supporting cast.
Is it Ray Romano in it?
No,
No.
you
What
get
is he in?
confused.
Yeah, easily, very
He's,
easily confused at the moment.
Somewhere in Queens.
That's
is,
what it.
is
Yes,
Ray
yes,
Romano,
yes,
so
yes.
that's very
yes,
good
yes.
too.
Yeah.
Nicole Hollis Center, just I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for her.
It works for you. You like you.
Yeah.
Her stuff works for you.
Yep. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a great collaborator.
Yeah.
Very good vehicle for her. And Tobias Menzies plays her husband.
I love him.
And where did you first see him?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I've been watching him for such a long time. A lot of people now know him for Outlander. Because he was on Outlander for a while, but no, he's just so good.
And Jeannie Berlin plays her mom.
Yeah.
Jeannie Berlin, who is Elaine May's real life mother. And who else is in it? Well, it's a film that I feel very comfortable. You use the word comfortable.
Yeah. That's what we saw.
I feel comfortable watching.
We were watching, Scott and I were watching Casino Royale the other day, and he's in that. That popped up.
The new Casino Royale.
Yeah. Yes.
As opposed to the old.
Yes. He's not old enough to have been in.
That's right.
The
old
other
train
one.
crash Casino Royale.
Yeah. Lynn, they really liked it. They really liked You Hurt My Feelings.
It's a very slight film.
But that's kind of her.
Yeah.
You know.
But sometimes it has more resonance than others. I think her best films are Please Give and Enough Said.
Yeah.
Where Julia Louis-Dreyfus was teamed with
Tony Soprano.
Tony Soprano, yes. James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
I'm missing my cues today.
Right.
Got to perk up here. Get the brain fired up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need more comfortable movies at the movie theater. I'm fed up with the superhero and machine movies. Well, that's the thing is that sometimes it's just nice. Again, I always go back to this. It is okay for a movie to just be a nice movie. In the same way that there are certain shows, you know, some people talk about Ted Lasso and they don't like where the more recent series have gone and where it's headed. And my feeling is, and this is just the truth, is that for me, talk about escape. It's a little escape every week. It is, they choose to be kind. They choose to be warm and fuzzy. And I'm okay with that.
Did you like the Amsterdam episode?
I've seen all the, yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen every
Which is
episode.
like twice as long as, as usual.
I would take longer every time. But no, some people, oh, well, it lost it after, the first season, second season, whatever. And it's like, yeah, and I get that. Part of it is, the newness wears off. I get that. But I just enjoy watching it. I find it very pleasurable to watch. You watch it and you enjoy yourself.
Well, we hit a milestone this week with the finale
of Maisel, Marvelous Miss Maisel. Oh, I cried. I did cry. I cried not at the show, but at the idea that it was over and something that was so good.
Something so good.
Yeah.
So detail oriented.
Crazy. Yeah, in that sense, crazy. What is your most beloved Rodgers and Hammerstein film musical? Excuse me.
Well, I don't know where to begin.
What's the first one that comes in mind?
King and I.
I mean, yeah, pretty great.
I mean,
great.
But on the other hand, listening to the voices of Shirley Jones and Gordon McRae, it's hard to beat. We want to cast two typical, though not typical, Americans from the heart of the country. You can't do better. You just can't do better.
Carousel is one of my mom's favorite shows, and it has become one of my favorite shows. I think that, and I'm obviously not alone in saying it's one of the best overtures ever written. I don't think that that's a unique thought on my part, but man, when it starts, and it's one of those, there are a handful of those openings, those just spectacular overtures that you can listen to in the car, and you just let them go. And it's such a thrill to listen to. It's such a joy to listen to.
Yeah.
Obviously Gypsy's another one for that. in terms of just those wonderful overtures. I think it always gets voted like number 1 or number 2 of the greatest overtures of all time.
Your mom just played it about an hour ago.
I heard her. I heard her singing with Daisy. I heard her singing it to Daisy. We will corrupt my child. We will make sure she knows all of the things that I know, and will grow up thinking she's supposed to sing like Ethel Merman. It can only end well.
Rodgers and Hammerstein had complete control over the films of their Broadway plays to a remarkable degree. Irving Berlin did too, I think, but Rodgers and Hammerstein were really the co-producers of the movies.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. He likes my hair.
Good.
Thank you. Oh yeah, the State Fair. I love State Fair. That's another one. It's wonderful.
Who sings the opening lines of the first lyrics you hear in State Fair? Sung by Percy Kilbride.
Now that's a name.
Also known as Pa Kettle, as in Mom Pa Kettle.
Our state fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it. Don't even be late. And dollars to donuts that our state fair is the best state fair in our state. Again, I was corrupted early. Lynn, I got to tell you, my mom and I are having this. Lynn says, I'm sad all my favorite shows are ending this week. Succession, Barry, and Maisel. My mom keeps saying this. She goes, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? All of our shows are ending. That is absolutely how I feel because, man, oh yeah, South Pacific. Look, we can go through all of them. There's so many good and great ones. And see, that's the thing. I think that when it comes to musicals, if it's something that you love, there are a handful that will always be the classics because I don't know how you beat the moments that they have.
Right.
Those big moments, the big numbers where you have, on stage a real ensemble cast. It's why I stand by that. I think the reason people have loved Wicked since it came out is that it was the first big show in a long time.
Yeah.
It was the first really big sort of old-fashioned musical that had been created in a long time where you had a big ensemble and big ensemble numbers. Because I remember the first time that I saw it in New York, I didn't get the hype. Like I liked it. I liked the show, but I didn't think that it was spectacular. But I realized that it's just that it was such a nice, I think people were excited to see something new that felt old.
Right.
That had all, again, like the big costumes,
right.
all of that kind of stuff. It really gave people that feeling
that
they just hadn't had.
Yeah. And that everyone, not everyone, that some people try to recapture, as in Schmigadoon.
Yeah.
We just started watching the second season of Schmigadoon.
Yeah.
The first season is an homage, a loving homage and parody at the same time of classic Broadway musicals. A lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein there, but also Lerner and Lowe and all those talented folks. And the second season opener is that they're in Chicago.
I love it.
And it's
Chicago. I love it.
It's more the Bob Fosse era, and
interesting, darker.
Not as sunny.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they're going to go with that. It's been available for a while. We just haven't had time to catch up with it.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm sitting here with the Carousel Overture in my head now. It's built.
Supposedly, I don't know if this is true. Supposedly, Richard Rodgers wrote the Carousel Waltz and the time it takes to play the Carousel Waltz. Don't quote me. I may be wrong, but I seem to recall.
It's the moment. It's the moment. You're never late, Christy. You're right on time. It's that moment of when it sounds like the carousel's building up.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what we're talking about, the musical Carousel and its overture is just like, it's perfect. And the most fun part of it to me is, I say, like sitting in the car, you're driving and it's building up to when the carousel's going to go. And then it finally gets to that part where it's that da 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 da, and it's just like your whole body lights up with joy because it's oh yeah. Can you tell we like musicals? There's nothing better. There's nothing better.
No.
And my dad, whenever we would go see shows, would always make a point of taking me down, usually at intermission, but also at the end.
At the end, you don't leave the theater.
Yeah.
You walk toward the orchestra pit
Mm-hmm.
so that you can really hear the finale music, exit music, and if you're lucky, see the musicians at work.
Yep. And that was always, you'd always walk down with me. That was a very big part of things. Much like staying to the end of a film and always watching the credits, which nobody that I knew did. But my parents trained me, and so that's what I'm used to. Exact same thing for that. When you go see a musical, you have to go see the orchestra.
Yep.
And that's what was so much fun about my husband does lighting. My husband's from England, and he does I know, right? That's why you can't understand what he says.
Yeah.
He does lighting for shows, and he toured all over the place with a bunch of different musicals. And I loved getting to sit backstage, first of all, at some of the most gorgeous theaters, getting to travel all different cities and seeing things. It was just absolutely beautiful.
You were at least one hippodrome, right?
Yeah. Well, in what's it called? Just blanked on the name of the place. Yeah, I can't think of the name, but yeah, more than one. But it was just wonderful. It's just wonderful, and getting to see these big, beautiful old theaters, and it's and then as I say, and then hearing the orchestra, and I became really good friends with the drummer, who was wonderful, Simon, just a wonderful man, and I loved listening to him play, and yeah, let's say it's just there's just nothing like live music, like live theater. It's just something that's very special. Can you make an introduction of Hairspray? How do you mean? Do you want to know about it? Is that you want to know a little bit about that? Anyway, I know Mommy and I were talking. My parents are headed to New York next week for the first time in 2-ish years.
Maybe 3.
Because it's a dear friend of ours memorial. And they're going to be going to that. I'm not going.
A very rapid trip.
Yeah, I'm not going because taking Daisy to a memorial did not seem like a wise idea. Just did not seem like a great idea at the moment. I'd like to take her to New York when she actually will enjoy it. And I will enjoy it. But we were talking to different friends about the different shows that are on right now. And sort of seeing what people are liking, but also seeing how expensive the shows are, because holy hell, it's just insane. But you are. I mean, there's a handful of things you really want to get to that tenement thing. I know you really want to get to.
I don't know if we're going to get there or not.
No, but you can try.
Museum. Yeah, we'll try.
I have faith.
We will try.
I have faith in you. Sorry. It's a 1988 movie. Yes, as I say, Robert, what do you want to know about Hairspray? What are you asking specifically about Hairspray? And I'll tell you who's going to be pissed. My daughter. My child is going to be real mad when Grandma and Grandpa aren't around, because she plays with them every single day.
Yeah.
And she is going to be quite peeved.
And we're going to miss her like the Dickens.
To not have Grandma and Grandpa here, but she'll just have to suffer.
And we will have to get up and go about our business without our daily injection of joy.
Yeah.
From
Daisy madness.
Daisy. Yeah.
And you don't have me to schlep your stuff.
That's right.
I'm that word again. Schlep. Yeah. I'm usually the mule. I carry everything, but you're on your own.
Yep.
In dueling wheelchairs. That's my favorite. You'll be all right. Anyway, but that's sort of the next exciting thing that's happening for us.
Yes, of course, the State Fair was remade in 1962. And when it came out on DVD, they got its co-star, Pat Boone, to do an audio commentary track. So I'm thinking, well, this would be interesting. Alice Faye came out of retirement to play the mother. And I put it in the disc, and I'm listening. I have the audio track on, commentary, and I'm waiting. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. Finally, he says something like, "Oh, I think I remember that convertible. That was a Ford. It was like a late 50s. I mean, something from out of the blue that prodded his memory. When they have actors or filmmakers do those tracks, you need a producer. You need somebody to produce results. Same thing happened in Days of Wine and Roses when Blake Edwards was given an open mic
Mhm.
and the film begins and you're like a minute in, feels like 5 minutes. He says, "Oh, I forgot this was in black and white." I mean, well,
Ay, ay,
that's
ay.
interesting to a degree, but we'd like to know a little more about how it came
That's so
about, and
funny.
what you think, and
That's so funny.
how you cast it, all these. Yeah,
And Nick says, would Daisy settle on watching her grandpa host segments from the Walt Disney Treasures sets? That would be really funny. Daisy, Grandpa's not here right now, but we're going to watch him on the TV. I mean, that's the thing. When I was a kid and I saw my dad on TV, I think I just got used to it.
Yeah.
I was used to seeing you there. So it made sense. But I can't imagine if that's not normal, what that would be like. It'll be interesting, definitely, when she starts to realize that you're there. That'll have some effect where she'll probably go, "Why are you there? Why is Grandpa in the TV?" Larry says, "Hi, Leonard. I know you are a big Thelma Todd fan." Understatement.
Duh.
So which title was it that made you stop and say, "Who's that girl?" and turned you into a fan like us? Our favorite Todd performance might be in Counselor at Law, Horse Feathers, or The Pip from Pittsburgh. Well, we do love The Pip from Pittsburgh.
Well, I probably first saw her in one of those two Marx Brothers movies, either Horse Feathers or Monkey Business. I can't remember which I saw first, but
in fairness, it's a long time ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your being fair.
You're welcome. I try.
So nice. But I got, I was smitten. I think that's the word, Mabel. I was smitten, and I never got unsmit.
You never desmitted.
I never desmitted.
I get it. Why not? No, she's. I love her in Pip from Pittsburgh. I think she's very funny. I mean, she had a great timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. One of my favorites. And then he's asking, what are some of your favorite films from the 1930s? All of them? I'm going to go with all of them.
That's my favorite decade.
Most of them.
So many.
Well, it's like they say 1939 was the greatest year for movies.
Yeah, and I would argue 1935 is also pretty darn good. But it's how ironic that a decade that was so difficult for so many people, struggling through the Depression, and the dust storms in the Midwest, the havoc,
all of it,
the havoc that was wreaked during that time, and yet look at the films, look at the movies.
Well, again, escapism. It's escapism.
Well, yes, although interestingly, some films did deal with it head on. Gold Diggers of 1933 has that unforgettable finale, Remember My Forgotten Man, where John Blondell sings about the World War I veterans who are now on bread lines.
Yeah.
They stared it in the face. They didn't dodge that. It's really interesting when you poke around and go past the headlines and the well-known, most revived films, and find the others. There's a film with Richard Barthelmess.
That's a name.
Barthelmess.
Sounds like you have a speech impediment. It's Mr. Barthelmess. Sorry, go on.
Called Heroes for Sale. That is about just that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of food for thought there.
Yeah. No, Mabel is not named after Mabel Normand. We just like the name. She didn't have one, and we had to find one, and we thought Mabel suited her, so we call her Mabel. But now because Daisy says Mummel. Daisy used to call her Mubble, and that moved to Mummel. So now we call her Mummel. Is Mummel. Ken's saying when you're in New York, go see the Oscar Levant, the show about Oscar Levant. Yeah, we'll see what you guys have time to squeeze in. Hopefully see at least one show. 1 second. Oh, what do you think of Louise Brooks? And are you a fan? I'm a big fan of hers. Sure.
I don't know anyone who isn't a fan of Louise Brooks.
Yeah.
And I read her book, her collected writings.
Hang on.
And
I have to get something for a show and tell bit. Go on.
okay. And I even saw the filmed interview she did for Ricky Leacock.
Oh, it's not down. Oh, it's down here. Sorry. I got my
What?
sleds mixed up.
Oh.
Someone just asked if we had a replica Rosebud sled. We do.
We do.
I forgot that it's not in here. It's in the other room. But yes, we have a replica Rosebud sled. Go on.
That was done by a guy who really was painstaking. This is decades ago. Painstaking. And it's missing the rope.
Yeah.
A little length of rope, which you use to tug the sled. And haven't found the right rope. But then I haven't looked that hard.
Haven't found the right rope.
What I'm busy doing now, very much every day, is getting things out of Daisy's reach.
It is how we spend a significant amount of time.
Last weekend, for instance, I came down. I have a 1934 Emerson Mickey Mouse radio, a figural.
Where did you put it?
Up high.
Oh, there it is. I see. Yeah.
Next to the Lone Ranger record player.
Which she was also trying to play with.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it has two knobs, this radio.
It had two knobs.
And I came down, where's the other knob? Where'd the other knob go? And the reason I was especially upset is that my old dear friend Dennis Freer, who I grew up with in Teaneck, New Jersey, found, not a replica, found somebody who had this spare part, the exact knob from the Emerson Radio Corporation. It was like $45 or something. I couldn't send the money fast enough. I replaced a missing knob, and now...
No, but we found it. We found it. I found it.
Happy ending.
So we do have the two again. But yes, the goal is to just move things as far away from Daisy as possible. The problem, of course, is explaining to Daisy that Grandpa has a lot of toys. Grandpa has a lot of toys. Some of them look like toys. Some of them don't look like toys. But we have to explain that she cannot touch everything. And it's not going well for us. But yes, he's moved a bunch. You can see where she's trying to pull the books out now.
Yeah.
She's trying to pull the books out to look at them. She's a menace to society, but she's our menace to society. Who do you consider the most consistent director ever as far as films that can be revisited time and again?
Nobody batted 1,000 ever.
No.
No. This is a story that Buddy Hackett told me. May I name drop? Thank you. Buddy Hackett told me that Billy Wilder came to see him to offer him a role in an upcoming film. And Buddy said to him, your last couple of pictures, they weren't so good. Or words to that effect. And Wilder said, well, this is the way it is. Sometimes you achieve your goals, sometimes you don't. And Buddy says, not me, I'm funny every night.
Funny every night.
Billy Wilder did not make a second visit to Buddy Hackett.
It's so funny because it's so true. Oh, I mean, this is the thing. I think that are there bad Hitchcock movies? Not necessarily
a couple of misfires.
Bad, but I mean, it's Hitchcock. There are a lot of those. I feel like there are a number of directors, whether it's Charlie Chaplin or, where considering how many films they made, their odds are pretty solid. Their odds are pretty solid, mostly good. I think that we also all have a certain humor will appeal to you. I love Mel Brooks. I don't love all of his movies. I don't love all of the shows or specials, but his humor is the humor that I've grown up with. It's a combination of old Jewish.
We still haven't tried History of the World.
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I told you.
Oh.
What it is it's exactly like Drunk History on Comedy Central. It's not different or clever. It just sort of is. I didn't think it was very good. It's not terrible, but it's just not very good. So that's sort of the thing. Who do you feel is one of the best directors? Who do you feel is someone that has consistently made the best ones to you? Hi, Leonard and Jesse. Hi, Ian. Great to see you. Has there been a noteworthy example of a film you did a double take and dramatically changed your opinion about after a second viewing? There are a handful of them.
Yeah. It's very rarely a complete turnabout. It's a matter of degree.
Mm-hmm.
The one example I always cite, so I'll go through it quickly, is Alien, because I'm a wimp. I can't watch horror movies, and jump scares always get me. And when I saw it the first time, I was on the road promoting a book, and I saw it by myself with a big audience in Boston, and I was chewing on my jacket sleeve. And so while I could, I just didn't have a good time. That's not my idea of fun.
Yeah.
So I gave it a kind of a medium review, 2.5 stars. 20 years later, they reissued it theatrically. Ridley Scott, the director, made a few little tweaks to it. But when I saw it 20 years later, after it had been ripped off, imitated, remade, sequelized, and all that, I realized, what a fantastic piece of work it is. And so I bumped it up to 3.5 stars and wrote a kind of a rave review, which it deserves, and which I didn't get the first time.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I've tried doing that with Blade Runner. I've seen 3 different edits, and that's it.
No,
I'm out.
We got a couple names that, of course, make sense: Spielberg, Tarantino, Preston Sturges, Martin Scorsese, Godard. Becky saying, "I wish Charles Lawton had directed again."
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah. Again, I think part of it's going to be, and this is always going to be true. When did you see a movie? How were you introduced to someone? Do they have a special place in your heart? I think for a lot of people, that's something that Spielberg has, is that, you grew up watching his films. And so part of why we feel the way we do about him. He also, and this is true about Scorsese, they have a warmth about them. They seem to really love what they do.
He's so good in Leslie's documentary,
Yeah.
Warner's documentary. He's always great on camera.
Yeah.
He's so articulate.
Scorsese,
so
not
passionate.
Spielberg. Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese.
Yeah.
Talking about Mean Streets and talking about Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Yeah.
Which he did for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe he's 80.
No, man.
He's 80. And Thelma Schoonmaker, his longtime film editor, collaborator, is 83.
Yeah.
And he was quoted the other day from Cannes, saying something like, so many stories I want to tell, and time is running out.
Yeah.
Talk about,
honestly,
mortality, you know.
Kevin saying Vincent Minnelli was pretty consistent. Yeah. Truffaut, sure. Powell and Pressburger. Yeah. Well, again, this is the thing. It's the same thing. Like, how I always say that the person you see first as a certain superhero is the one that sticks in your mind. So if the Batman that you grew up seeing was, I'm just throwing, Val Kilmer, whoever it is of the various Batmans, whether you're a Keaton Batman person or it goes further back than that, everybody has in their head when they close their eyes what they picture as the superhero. So for me, my first Superman was the serial because that's what my dad showed me as a little kid. So when I close my eyes, I see George Reeve. That's Superman in my head.
Series.
Yeah.
TV series.
Yeah. That's who I see in my head. Just as someone else who grows up with, again, any of the others, they're going to go, oh no, I picture this. I think it's similar with these, again, John Huston. Of course, John Huston is incredible. There's so many, if you grew up with John Wayne, if you grew up watching John Wayne and watching those Westerns, well, then when they come on, there's a certain level of comfort and happiness. And I think probably some dopamine that just releases in your body where you go,
well, yes. Well, TCM is built on that foundation.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, you can approach it any number of different ways. You can approach it from a scholarly position or a fan, a new fan, discovering these wonderful films and these wonderful people, or you can bathe in nostalgia. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially in difficult times. And we've all been going through difficult times to one degree or another.
Yeah. As I say, it's just everybody, again, you guys are listing off lots of really good directors. Again, there's so many. It just depends on what you like.
John Huston, I was at a press conference where John Huston talks about Mr. North, the film he wanted to make that, in fact, his son Tony did. And someone asked about remakes of older films, and he said, I'd like to see them remake the films that didn't work. Where it seemed like we had all the ingredients, but it didn't quite come together.
Yeah.
Remake that and do a better job.
That would be more interesting. That would definitely be more interesting.
Yeah. Very few, if any, have taken them up on that.
If only. What are your favorite books about Hollywood? That is a very long list.
Boy. Well, The Parade's Gone By, right at the top of the list, by Kevin Brownlow. If you haven't read that, you should. Written with love and passion and discovery, a sense of discovery. That's why it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the TV series he and his late partner did called Hollywood, about the silent era. The first episode is an introduction. It's a primer. It's to get your feet wet. And the book does that too. The Parade's Gone By. Now a bona fide classic of film books. After that, gosh. Well, when I was like 11 or 12, somebody gave me, maybe my parents gave me a copy of Richard Griffith and Arthur Mayer's The Movies, coffee table book. There have been many more elaborate since then, but it was the first single volume, oversized book that purported to tell the history of the movies, largely pictorial. And I memorized it. I mean, I inhaled that book. So I have a great affection for it.
Ken says The Great Movie Comedians by Leonard Maltin.
Well, God bless you.
Lynn says that you should put a list of your favorite books on the website. You're right. We should have a sort of a separate that lives forever of your favorite. Here's the thing about the Rosebud Sled. Ken's asking if you can show us the Rosebud Sled. It's on a real.
It's perched on a high shelf.
It's very, very high up and would require a ladder to get to it. So should a ladder become available at some point, I will try and grab it. But it's just not in an easy position for me to get to. Maybe if you stood on my shoulders, we could try. Or we just send Daisy out. Just lower Daisy on a rope and see if that does the trick. Yes, David Lynch. Again, you're listing all kinds of great people, so many talented folks. I'll say some of the books that I've loved that you've read. I always go back to the one. I know it's not movies directly, but it's the massive one about the Harvey girls.
Yes, Food for
America.
I don't know.
What's it called?
Look it up.
Help me look it up.
Fred Harvey.
Let's see.
Appetite for America?
Maybe.
I
think it was that because I think it had America in the title. Yeah, Appetite for America.
Appetite for America.
I'm not crazy. I said it.
Is a terrific book about Fred Harvey and the Harvey houses that he willed into existence and helped populate the Western United States.
Fascinating.
Now, this is dealt with in a very superficial way in the 1946 MGM musical, The Harvey Girls, with Judy Garland and John Hodiak and a very young, tarted up Angela Lansbury. It's not a bad film, but the real story of the Harvey houses and the Harvey girls is even better.
It's fascinating, and it has stuck with me because you read this book, What's Gotta Be Now. I remember it because it was the trip that we did to New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah.
So it's however many, a long time. It's a long time ago, 10 or more years. But you just kept reading, aloud, and it was so interesting. So interesting. I love that. I absolutely love them. Dune says, we used to sit at lunchtime seeing what movies we could watch, knowing you'd given them 4 stars. Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, that's it, isn't it? Seeing when you read about a film and someone says this is one of the best things I've ever watched, in the same way, this is one of the best books I've ever read. On the one hand, it can be a bit daunting because then you're thinking, okay, well, apparently this is the best. I should probably get it. On the other hand, there's something to be said about why. Why do people have that reaction? I think about, what's been on a lot lately is American Beauty. American Beauty's been on a lot. And a lot of years ago, a lot of young filmmakers, that was like their go-to. If you said, what's your favorite film? They'd say American Beauty.
One of the great music scores
Yes.
of all time, because
yes.
before
which became an Apple sound.
Before you see or hear anything, well, before you see any human interaction, it's an aerial shot,
a
helicopter shot of suburban rooftops, and you hear a marimba playing a minor key riff by Thomas Newman, and you're set for the film. You know, the tone of the film is introduced that quickly and that thoroughly. That's my favorite example of what music can do for movies. Favorite contemporary example.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just
a lot of books. A lot of the books that I read, I have to confess, were of their time, and that's another. Again, time does not stand still. When Bob Thomas wrote his book King Cohn, Cohn, about Harry Cohn, the fearsome chief of Columbia Pictures, you couldn't put four-letter words in print. So in recounting a lot of the anecdotes, and there were many that he gathered, which have been appropriated and retold since, but not as well as in the first telling, he either had to put asterisks or soften the word, and rather than say the two words that I prefer not to use here either. And but that was of its time. Now, if he was writing it today, or rewriting it today,
very different.
It would be very different. Similarly, one of the first biographies I read was Bogey by Joe Hyams, a very entertaining book about Humphrey Bogart. And Joe Hyams was a long time, like Bob Thomas, a long time reporter based in Hollywood. He knew his stuff. But there's been Eric Lax has done an exhaustive biography of Bogart since then. But you get more information, you get more detail, and more perspective, perhaps, because Joe Hyams knew Bogart. So, but I love that book. I haven't gone back and reread it, but I have a place in my heart for that book.
Yeah.
And
you're allowed to do.
And the first book I ever read about movies, anything to do with movies, was Mack Sennett's autobiography called King of Comedy. Mack Sennett, the great producer of Keystone Films, who was the man who signed Charlie Chaplin to his first American movie contract. He later discovered Harry Langdon. He had something to do with Bing Crosby getting in the movies. He created the Keystone Cops. The Mack Sennett Bathing Beauties are still, something people recognize when you say it. And his book, which was ghosted by a guy named Cameron Shipp, is very entertaining. And it really captures the mood and the feel of early Hollywood. I'm talking about 1913, 14, when things were still pretty primitive, and the town wasn't yet, hadn't transformed itself yet. I later learned that almost everything in the book is made up of whole cloth. It's colorful, and it catches the ambiance, let's say, but factually,
tricky.
But I still love the book. Because of what it, maybe it's sentimental. But I like that.
It's okay to be sentimental. Someone just asked, has anyone ever been angry with Mr. Maltin over a review. Absolutely. People go crazy, which is why we do a panel now called You're Wrong, Leonard Maltin. We just got our slot for Comic-Con. We've done it at Comic-Con. We've done it at Fantastic Fest, once at South by. Basically, it's called You're Wrong, Leonard Maltin. People can step up and they can say, why did you like this? Or why didn't you like this? And we have a conversation, and it's a lot of fun, and it's meant to be playful.
Yeah.
It's meant to be playful. And everybody, I think, gets that vibe, and nobody's yelling or screaming or fighting.
No, it's not a debate club.
But it is interesting, isn't it? You know, if you see something and you love it, I tend to find that it's the ones that bring on the extreme reactions. So it's rarely something where you go, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that more than you. It's usually those movies that polarize people where it's like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life, to this was terrible. How could anyone like it? And when you're on those opposing sides, it's hard to see the other one, because you go, how could you not like this? Or in turn, how the hell could you like this?
Yeah.
You know,
Which is why it's always a matter of opinion.
it's opinion. Well,
informed opinion.
Informed opinion. Our beloved Harlan Ellison says that you are entitled to your informed opinion. I don't know did you, when you spoke to Josh, you tell you his son's name, the full name?
Yeah.
So Miles J for Harlan, because Harlan's middle name was J. So yeah, he named that. Last week you asked if we had seen the new live action Little Mermaid. I have. This is Jim. You're right that they're unnecessary, but they keep doing them until they bomb at the box office. We can only judge their quality. Well, of course. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is I will tell you that I was at Target the other day and I saw a bunch of little girls buying the new Little Mermaid merch. I've also seen lots and lots and lots of videos of kids getting to meet, because they brought out the new Ariel at the parks. And 100% seeing little kids get excited to see a princess who looks like them, worth it. Genuinely worth it. Those kids are thrilled, and that is a beautiful thing. Every kid should be able to feel like they could be a princess. And so if this helps that, great. Do I think that they're in any way necessary? No, of course not. But at least at the end of the day, something lovely comes from it, is how I feel. You still don't have any, I mean, you're not going to, I think you have to see it at some point.
Well, I
think you kind of have to see it.
I suppose I do.
Yeah.
I suppose I do. Did we talk about John Musker's short?
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, which was wonderful. 1 second. Did you ever interview Christopher Lee?
No, I'm sorry to say.
Mm-mm.
Whereas my friend Joe Dante has his voice on his voicemail.
Yeah. Yes. Nick says, I just wish it was an actual original princess. I agree wholeheartedly. Why they couldn't just make another mermaid? They couldn't just do another mermaid movie. Not like it would be hard. You could just do another mermaid movie. I don't get it. It's fine. I love how much people are hating Awkwafina in it because it's not funny. I don't get her shtick anyway. I like Awkwafina when she's not being Awkwafina. When she's being Nora, she's been good in some things. I don't like her character of Awkwafina. I find that obnoxious, but that's just me. But a lot of people are not liking. That's been a big part of the movie, is they're not enjoying that aspect of it. Nick's asking, are there any silent era animated shorts that you think should be inducted into the National Film Registry?
Well, other than Gertie the Dinosaur, the pioneering ones like Winsor McCay's Gertie the Dinosaur,
Yeah,
which is probably on the list.
it should be.
Almost assuredly is on that list.
Yeah.
And that was not his first attempt at animation.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe the first out of the inkwell that the Fleischer brothers did. Have to give that some more thought.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I just want a princess of the size of an average person and not a size 0. That's just me. Well, see, that's the thing. What I liked about Merida and obviously Moana and even Lilo and Stitch is that they did start to look a bit more like humans, which was nice. But man, oh man, yeah, you just would think with all of the creative people out there, surely someone has an idea that's not a remake, right? Like someone's got to have that idea. Although right now nobody can write anything, can they? That's a whole other mess. Man, this writer's strike.
So
Woof.
a brief show and tell.
Yes.
How successful a theater owner did you have to be sent this paperweight of Francis the Talking Mule to promote Francis Goes to the Races
Yeah.
in the early 1950s?
You say to yourself, you know what I really want on my desk? A Francis the Talking Mule. Never needed anything more.
Or in 1923, Dollar Devils, a bank, a coin bank, Victor Schertzinger production. Victor Schertzinger had a dual career as a capable film director, but also as a composer. And his last film was called The Fleet's Inn,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote a beautiful song with Johnny Mercer called I Remember You. And
Does animation even qualify as a film? David, animation is absolutely 100% a medium. It is a medium that you can choose to use to make your films. And I think that over the years, they've shown us that it doesn't have to be for kids. We've seen so much that's not for kids. Hell, some of the stuff that's on Disney Plus is not for kids. Some of the stuff that comes on for my daughter, I go, I don't think a child's going to understand this one. But no, it's just a medium. It's a form of expression. We've seen
Right.
so many different kinds of animation that are absolutely beautiful. And I think more and more people are starting to understand that. And obviously that was one of Guillermo del Toro's big things with winning for Pinocchio and saying, it's not for children. It is a beautiful and really difficult art form. So yeah. I love this thing. This is one of my favorite toys that you have.
Now, I get sent very little now, but in my heyday and in Hollywood giveaway heyday,
Mm-hmm.
We used to get tchotchkes.
Many tchotchkes.
Many tchotchkes promoting movies. Some of them were obvious. Some of them were, old standbys. And every now and then, something exceptional. Now, though it's modest, I think that the Mystic Pizza Oregano
that was
shaker,
solid. That was a solid one.
Organic to the film.
Yep.
Which famously launched Julia Roberts. And it's now in my collection at USC.
Yep. I will always love that Da Vinci Code
Oh,
thing.
the Codex. Yes.
That was incredibly cool.
Yep.
But
and
then
and then there's one that I didn't get. Only people of I don't know.
Maybe
more
they didn't think you
exalted-
were dark enough.
Certain individuals more exalted than me got this. I bought this
You purchased
with
it.
my hard-earned money on eBay.
And I'm thrilled you did because I love it so much.
But this is a snow globe, of course, with
Thing's hand.
Thing's hand holding the snow globe.
And it says Adam's Family Values in the actual ball. And I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it so much. It's one of my favorite things. A tech question, where do you get the most viewers? Facebook tends to be the most consistent. Twitter usually gets up pretty high too. Those tend to be the larger ones. Christy, what do we think about Disney Plus taking things off so quickly? It's idiotic. I don't understand who's running Disney Plus, but Lord help us. I don't get it. I do not understand. I don't know. All I can figure is they must not like movies or people, or anything, because the way they're handling things just makes absolutely no sense at all. I don't get it. They keep taking stuff off. It's the app crashes all the time. It's just very, 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 very strange. I don't get it. I don't get any of it. And I don't know. All I can hope is that one day they'll put someone in charge of it who may actually like Disney, and want to entertain the people who pay money for this app, because what in the hell are they doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. But
I don't get it in another sense.
No, it doesn't work for us
No.
either. I told you we have to stream it from our phone.
Yeah.
I've had this, and I have a lot of friends who have the same thing. We can't ever get the app to work, and so we end up streaming it from our phone to the TV, which makes absolutely no sense either. Did you guys ever get your HBO Max straightened out? Well, so yeah, well, we got it straightened out, but now we need to change it to Max. By the way, I read today, do you know part of why they moved it? Because it affects the contracts, and they don't have to pay people residuals because it's streaming. This is part of why they changed it from being HBO Max to just being Max. And this is why the writers are striking, because part of why they changed it is that by making it streaming, because one of the biggest issues is that streaming is not written into a lot of contracts because it's still relatively new. Remember, COVID is when the streaming went through the roof. So this is a way of getting around paying residuals. This is why we're all going to die. Yeah, very upset to read that, man. Oh man. I thought, no, Disney Plus is not, that's what I mean. See, I thought Disney Plus crashing was just my internet being slow. No, I have so many friends where we can't get that app to work to save our lives. And the only way to do it is to stream from your phone to the TV, which is ridiculous. No, I don't get it. And when I tried calling, I've called 2 times to try and fix it. In both cases, they went, well, we don't know what's going on. I was like, okay, so the money we pay you so that we can watch it probably means that you should figure it out. What's important, guys, is I'm not angry about this. I'm very angry. I just don't understand. They have this app and then they just screw around with it all the time. It makes absolutely no sense to me.
But they have but that company, which is now called Discovery Warner Brothers Inc. I don't know. It's Discovery Warner Brothers. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
None of it does.
But they have deep sixed a channel with a reputation. HBO became synonymous with quality.
Yeah.
High quality television.
HBO and Showtime were 2 of the very first channels that showed these kinds of series that have now become the thing people want to make, right? Where they were putting real money and real talent behind it, hiring the best of the best cinematographers, costume designers. This is where you're getting your Game of Thrones, and they're spending the kind of money they're spending, and the writing is great, all of that stuff. It's like, okay, so HBO, which is a thing that we all know and can identify, you're going to get rid of that and call it Max, which means nothing. I don't get it. I don't get any of it, guys. I just don't get it. Yeah, I miss the old Disney Channel that used to show episodes of the classic Sunday night series. But again, I don't understand why Disney Plus wouldn't use their stuff. But I get there's no logic. There's no logic here.
Mystery to me.
There's no logic. Yeah, Paramount Plus has issues. Yeah, all of them. They all have issues. Every
and
single
why
one of them.
Plus?
Yeah. Why are we plussing?
Why is everybody plussing?
The new Warner owner sounds like a selfish jerk. I'll be honest with you. He's in a really bad position because he's the one who has to make all these cuts.
He's the hatchet man.
So I don't know that I hold him personally accountable. I think in a large sense, he's sort of just the one that has to do all the dirty work. But I also get that if you're doing all the dirty work, you're going to make a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's bonkers. Exactly. Ryan says physical media always has and always will be better than streaming. 100%. I will always want to own something. I just don't trust it otherwise, to be honest. I want to have it because if I have it, you can't take it from me. You can't take it from me.
That's why there are all those books on those bookshelves.
I know. There's also nothing quite like it, is there? I mean, how do you sit down? Like if we're going to sit down with Daisy and we want to read to her, I don't really want to get a screen out. I want to get a book.
Yeah.
I want her to hold the book. She loves sitting in your lap and having you read to her. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's something else that does that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what chaos. Yeah, pry it from my cold, dead hands. Exactly. You will not take my books. So guys, as I mentioned, my parents are going to be away next weekend at this memorial, and I don't think you need an hour with just me. So we will be back in 2 weeks. So not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday we'll be back when they are back from New York. Man, and I can't believe we're about to hit June. How are we about to hit June?
Where's time going?
It's almost Father's Day, and it's almost my birthday. Whoop whoop. It just flies by, doesn't it? Everybody, please take care and be safe. It's nutty out there. And as you like to say, be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind to each other. Things are wacky.
Be kind to each other and to yourself.
Yeah, that too. June is busting out all over. Yes, it is, Jonathan.
Okay.
Everybody take care, and we will see you soon.